It's Wellness Wednesdays with Dr. Nancy, providing helpful tips on how to live your best life now. Well, hello, everyone. Happy Wellness Wednesday. Happy to have you here live streaming, listening to the topic of the day. And our special guest, an expert in her field, is Rachel Miller, and she's the owner and founder of Dosha Healing. And today, in the series of the holistic approach to health and wellness, the series, demystifying Ayurveda, this ancient practice. And you have, and if you've not heard of what Rachel is doing in this series, please, 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 you can text on any smart device. 26786 is the number. And then in the text box, you put in Dr. Nancy, DRNANCY. And it's all one word, and you get to binge watch all the latest episodes of Wellness Wednesday and how Rachel, talks about initially what Ayurveda means, and then, of course, every third Wednesday here on Wellness Wednesday, featuring Rachel Miller, demystifying this ancient practice of Ayurveda. So today we're going to talk about disease prevention and treatment, right? So prevention and treatment of disease and dis-ease and inflammation and how important that is. So Rachel, it's so great to have you back today.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited for today's topic. I'm glad to be here sharing it with all of you all today. So thanks again so much for having me today.
Of course, of course. We are live streaming here on LinkedIn, as well as Dr. Nancy's Integrative Medicine YouTube channel and ngcnetworktv.com. It's my media broadcasting network. And what, the purpose of the audience and the purpose of my mission and vision is to provide credible, relevant information that everyone can use to live their best life now. It's a book I'm writing. It's the way that I practice in my medical practice, and it's who I align with, like Rachel Miller. And so, Rachel, what do you have on tap for us today?
Well, today we are going to kind of look through the lens of Ayurveda to discover a little bit more about how disease is manifested, what causes disease, and we will look at some homemade remedies to treat disease.
Okay, good. Now, can you tell the viewers, listeners, just a brief definition of what Ayurveda is, and then we can go into the topic.
Ayurveda is a holistic system of health. It is translated from Sanskrit to English, meaning the knowledge of life or the truth of your life. And it's really about balancing the bodily functions, the bodily systems with nature, balancing with the environment around you to achieve optimal health.
You couldn't have said it any better. So optimal health, peak performance, your highest self, really, those are all important things in today's society. It's always been the primary reason for living your best life. We're just shedding more light on different ways that we can show up for ourselves so that, our loved ones can get the overflow.
It's beautiful.
So Rachel, okay. Let's start with first in terms of disease prevention and treatment with Ayurveda.
Yeah, so when we start to talk about disease or really anything with Ayurveda, I always like to kind of compare it to the Western lens, how we treat disease here, how we approach disease here, and kind of compare that to what it means through that Ayurvedic mindset. Ayurveda is a lifestyle, it's a choice. And it's the way that you work in harmony with your body and with your mind. So first and foremost, I really encourage anyone who's considering to adopt the Ayurvedic lifestyle to have that open mind and to understand that your body has all of the innate intelligence for healing itself. One of the most important modalities for health and healing, well, there might be a little bit of a spiritual component to it, a little bit of spirituality, if you will. Um, Things that science can't really prove, but we know are happening. If you think of a young child who who falls down or gets their feelings hurt because their toy was stolen, they come to their mom, and what does the mother do? They hug their child, they kiss their boo boo away, and we can see that the child feels better instantly. So love is really kind of that first and foremost structure to set the body up for success, be receiving to healing, pray for healing. And with that in place, if we're still experiencing ailments or symptoms, look around and determine what's in your environment, what's in your diet that might be causing those diseases to manifest.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Love really conquers everything, and if you start in that place, everything will follow suit, including your finances,
Mhm.
including your relationships that you have in the world. When you
Yes.
lead with love, I mean, it's the essential way to healing, not just personally, but spiritually, and all of that emits into the universe from you when you love yourself, learn to forgive yourself and others. So balance is what really is my main takeaway with Ayurveda. The harmony within yourself really emanates to around you and through you when you encounter others as well.
Yeah, and one of the ways that we can kind of shift that mindset, to be open to more receiving is just paying attention to the language that we use when we are talking about disease. So often we use words and phrases like "I'm sick" or "I am sick," "I am depressed," "my allergies," or we tend to identify with our sickness, and that goes against that harmony of the body's innate ability to heal. On that subliminal level, we are kind of giving a confused message to the body and the mind that the illness and the body are one in one. So just reframing the language around how we even view our illnesses is a great first step to staying well or to ridding ourselves of ailments and disease.
Yeah, that's so important because the I ams, we can turn those I ams around and say, and turn them into affirmations, because whatever it is that you speak out in the atmosphere, you're speaking to yourself, you're speaking to your soul. And it takes about 6 to 8 weeks to really, for your soul to really get what you are telling it, because you've got to believe it, you've got to confirm it, affirm it, and you've got to, when you speak I ams in a positive way, these affirmations, emotionally, you have to really believe it and feel it when you say it. So I couldn't agree with you any more. And then the words that you speak, not just to others, but more importantly to yourself. I had a conversation with a colleague the other day, and he says, the word I can't is not in my vocabulary, because when you speak negativity outward, particularly about yourself, you know, you can internalize that. And you're absolutely right. However, you think in a positive way, you should speak it that way. You should emotionally feel it and be present in that moment as well. So those are great points.
There you go. Just remove those words from your vocabulary, and it's a good thing to always want to grow, always want to continually be a better version of yourself. So you do kind of see that there's this flow of, it's the starting point of maybe that thought pattern, and then eventually it accumulates. Just to kind of break it down for you, in Ayurveda, there are 6 stages of disease. So when we identify a disease or an imbalance in our body, one of the first steps, again, this is a holistic science. So we're not just looking straight at the disease, we're looking at it as a whole, the person involved, the tissues involved. What stage of the disease are we experiencing? So there are 6 stages in Ayurveda. The first stage is accumulation, and the second stage is, I'm going to refer to my notes real quick here, aggravation. So if we're not catching the disease at that first stage, then it starts to aggravate, and then we start to see overflow and relocation. And what that means basically is we might have a starting point in a certain starting point in the body where we see the accumulation. But as we know, our bodies fight off disease as well as they can. So your disease won't stay in healthy tissues. It won't stay in healthy cells. It wants to relocate to those weak areas in your body, because that's where it can survive and that's where it will grow. And after relocation, then finally we do start to see that manifestation stage. And again, if that's not something that we are addressing, then we will start to experience chronic disease. And at that point, you can, like I say, you can see the flow at the beginning. That's really the best time to attack the disease before it gets too late. However, we understand that every body is different. Every person experiences life differently. So there's hope for no matter what stage of disease you come into, the searching for healing. So whether it's chronic pain, or chronic illness, no worries. We can always move it back gently to those stages and to optimal health.
Yeah, Rachel. So excellent points there with the stages of healing and health or disease, as you mentioned. And here we can. I'm listen. I'm going to go a little bit further to say, okay. I had another guest on my show, Dr. Nancy No's talk show, and she was diagnosed with stage 4, I believe, breast cancer, and it's very well known. She has made it very public, and she's in remission, by the way. And so she says she attributed it that to the remission was killing cancer with kindness. So she woke up every day, she put her makeup on, she said her daily affirmations. She said she killed her disease with kindness. And every time she would show up to the treatment, facilities to get her treatment, the healthcare staff was all amazed about how positive and how she allowed her light to shine. And she really attributes killing cancer with kindness. So that accumulation, let's not allow that to happen. And if you get a diagnosis that is less than desirable, you have the ability to speak it out of existence through positive thought processes, so that you made a point, Rachel, that the disease does not want to go into healthy tissue. Now, we are self-healing machines. Our body has been created by the Lord's creation to self-heal itself, but it does need help. And it needs the love that you can give yourself. It needs the proper rest and nutrition and hydration as well. So it's all a mindset. So the aggravation, which was the stage 2 step, doesn't necessarily have to be, because again, you can reverse anything that you want in terms of healing, in terms of positive thought processes. It ultimately comes down to your choice. And then the overflow, I often like to think about prosperity and abundance.
Mm-hmm.
And overflow, and not necessarily in that disease state. So what I'm trying to say is that negativity may come into our lives in many different forms, through our thoughts, through a diagnosis, through something that someone says. But you have the power to reverse all of that and replace it with something very positive, from a place of humility and gratitude and thankfulness. I mean, the choice is ultimately yours. And then we're going into the manifestations. That's exactly what we're talking about. What it is that you want to manifest in a positive way, you have the power to do that. So nothing has to be in a chronic state. And if it does, you can replace it with something positive in a way. You surround yourself with like-minded individuals that empower you, that pour into you as well. And then let's not forget yourself, right? Because sometimes we can be our worst enemy and say bad things to ourselves, not even out loud. You can think them. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. You have the power if you believe that you can change any circumstance or situation in your life.
Wow, that's a beautiful success story. And, Dr. Nancy and I are out here trying to spread education about these healing modalities so those stories become more the norm. Congratulations to your patient. And what a wonderful testament to exactly what we're talking about here today. Ayurveda does say that all disease begins in the mind. Yes, we experience it in our bodies, but again, that goes to show. I love that story, and I love that we are able to celebrate your client. And I just hope that others out there who are listening, who may be in a moment of feeling down because they've turned to different modalities of healing, just know that there's hope out there. There are people out there like myself or Dr. Nancy that you can turn to, have a conversation, and turn it around.
That's exactly right. And Rachel, I'd be remiss to say, and I say this in all of our broadcasts here, is that seek out medical or professional consultation. And this, I am a professional, you are a professional, but if you're not seeking us in initially for consultation, then we do recommend that you do reach out to someone that is in your network, or one of us. We're available as well. The information is always, the contact information is always a part of the on-demand videos that are recorded after the live stream. So Rachel's information is always there. My information, Dr. Nancy's Integrative Medicine. We are here to help.
Yeah, I'm glad you say that. So some of the things that you learn on short little podcasts like this, if you're deciding, okay, if you're experiencing a mild illness or disease, and you think that you've decided that you've got enough education and you've learned about some natural healing ways and they're not too aggressive, it might be fine to try them, but it's always recommended to just double check with your doctor. They have your family history, they have your medication history to further educate you on what may or may not be appropriate for your specific situation.
And then, so I might add as well, though, honestly, mindset, having the choice to do better and choose better and more wisely, live your best life now is that costs nothing. And that's a personal choice as well. But, as we evolve into the series, we will talk about different herbs and spices and, essential oils and mostly all plant-based products. But again, not knowing personally what individuals are taking in terms of their medications and or their treatment therapies, it's always recommended to just follow up with your healthcare professional for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is not medical advice, but moving into how to determine the types of diseases we're getting. I always recommend it's important to really understand your dosha. Your doshas are comprised of the 5 elements in the universe: earth, water, fire, space, and wind. And when those elements combine in certain combinations, they are basically the building blocks of our body's blueprints. And your doshas will determine sometimes what types of diseases that you are most prone to. So I always recommend really understand your dosha, understand the warning signs and the triggers that you might be starting to be in that accumulation stage, and make any necessary dietary or lifestyle changes first so that you're putting your body in a supportive environment to achieve that healing. We want to protect our bodies. The skin is the largest organ. A good way to protect the immune system is by an Ayurvedic treatment called Abhyanga. Abhyanga is an oil massage. It can be performed at home, and it can be as simple as massaging your head and your face and your feet with a sesame oil or an olive oil or a coconut oil, depending on your specific blueprint. We can also look to see what kind of herbs might be recommended and create herbal blends to go inside of the oils to further promote that health. And Abhyanga is very good for calming the nervous system. So a lot of good benefits, but you'll want to do, just make sure that you've got the right concoction for your body.
Yeah, Rachel, that's very, very important. So can you list the 5 doshas again? I got earth, water, space, and wind. What was the fifth one?
So those are the 5 elements. There are three doshas. Vata, which is made of space and air. So it's the lightest dosha, and it tends to come out of balance the most frequent. No matter what your most dominant dosha is in your body, you do have all three. The second dosha is pitta, and that's comprised of the elements fire and water. And the third dosha is known as kapha dosha, and that's comprised of water and earth. So when we mix water and earth together, it's a little bit more of a heavy quality. Maybe we tend to think of mud, so it's very sturdy. It's like I say, Vata tends to become off balance more frequently. They all have really good things about them, and then they have their problem areas as well. So again, keeping in balance to know what might aggravate your specific doshas and what to stay away from. Or one of the things I love about Ayurveda is getting into it. You might think that there's a lot of rules out there, and there's a lot of no, don't do this or stay away from that. It's quite the opposite. Knowing how to support your body and what it needs, all of the things that you probably shouldn't be doing or that you should steer away from as far as diet or activities, those tend to fall away when you do support the things that are healthy for you.
Okay, Rachel. So I totally agree with that. And then so the thing is that this sounds it's very simply said, and you specialize in Ayurveda and the practices of and utilizing these 5 elements, and then determining what dosha a person is. How does individuals get in touch with you with regard to seeking out more information if they were more interested in taking on your services and learning more?
Oh, thanks for asking. You can find me on my website, doshahealingcenter.com. I can be reached by phone 602-679-6763. And my phone number and email address is all on the website, so you don't have to memorize it here. But I would love it if you could take a visit to my website, doshahealingcenter.com, and you'll see all of the different workshops that I offer, all of the different events that we put on, and the different types of consultation services that you can participate in.
And I understand you work in group settings as well. And do you work one-on-one individually for those consultations as well, Rachel?
Yes, consultations will be one-on-one. Most of my workshops I prefer to get together with a group of friends or your family. That's where our habits that we're building can be the most sustained. So group workshops are set for a minimum of 3 people, and if you prefer to do an individual workshop one-on-one, I'm happy to customize. I want everybody to get the best benefit for them specifically, so you can always reach out and we can work something out together. Group workshops are from about 3 to 8 people, and we do have larger workshops. So if you're interested in bringing a program to your work or to a large party, please contact me and let me know. I do have packages for corporations, nonprofits, and things like that.
Well, that's excellent information. That is excellent information. And I think that information like this should be delivered in incremental dosages. And so, hence, we've got the series of this holistic approach to wellness and demystifying Ayurveda, this ancient practice. Rachel, it's so great to have you on the show every third Wednesday through July. We may extend this depending on, the demand and the request and, the response that we get from individuals. And, if you want to know more and hear more, we are here for you. And we're going to continue to do the series with Rachel Miller, the owner and founder of Dosha Healing. And it's a holistic approach to health and wellness, the series every third Wednesday right here on Wellness Wednesdays. Rachel, do you want to leave us with any last minute information or content?
Yeah, I would like to just invite everybody to come back next month, where we will be exploring one of the best ways to prevent disease is by creating a daily routine. So we're going to look at what does an Ayurvedic routine even look like, and how can you make it fit into your schedule.
That's awesome. I was prepared to talk about routines, but I'm going to save it for next month, and you should too. Yes, listen, we really appreciate you tuning in and listening to this content. And remember, if you weren't able to listen and catch us in its entirety here on live stream, you can also binge watch all the on-demand Wellness Wednesdays at Dr. Nancy's Integrative Medicine YouTube channel. You can text the word DRNANCY, all one word, to 26786. And listen, I want everyone to have a wonderful rest of the week, and stay tuned for Wellness Wednesdays next week. And bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.